Need to hit a 2-for-1 special real quick. What's up, guys? They go with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Here's a fun fact. Here. I may be a week behind, but you still know it's peak she every week she. So I'm excited. But since we have 2 chapters to cover, I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's hop right into chapter 84. Question mark, exclamation point. I want him. All right, so let's see. Man, here's the thing. I could make a joke. It's right there. But Osamu Nishi-sensei and Shiro Uzazaki-sensei have been so vague with the characters' ages that I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. But let's see. But that's crazy, though. She probably, like, in the wild thing is, I assume she just lives this, right? Like, obviously, this is gonna hurt a lot, but she's just gonna eat this. While presumably having all of her magic drained out of her. Golly, but alright. Judgment executed. Boom! I hope this isn't the end for Amadoro in the narrative, though. I mean, like, I doubt it. There's no way. There's no way, right? But at the same time, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Ooh, whoop. Yeah. Jeez. Gee, there's so much magic flowing out of it. But to be fair, though, we still don't, like... To be fair, it's rare for us to get, like, actual conceptualization of how much magic, or, like, how much of a resource exists in a power system, right? Like, it's rare. Like, we know chakra reserves are a thing, we know ki reserves are a thing, but notably, 9 out of 10 times in those narratives, like, we don't just get told when characters have high amounts or when they're out, right? And sometimes we don't even get told, we just need to see it. Like, oh, they aren't using those types of attacks anymore, I guess they're out. But for Ichi the Witch, with magic reserves, like, kind of being implied to be a thing, but only just now getting, like, properly confirmed, it makes sense that a character who just has a lot is leaking a lot of it. I'm honestly shocked that the sacred treasures seemingly have no limit, right? Like, you would think if encountered with a strong enough witch, a sacred treasure would kind of just, like, reach its own storage capacity point. Like, for example, if we were to say these sacred treasures are, like, washcloths, right? Or paper towels. You can only soak up so much water with a paper towel. So I'm guessing these sacred treasures, and maybe it depends on their size, maybe it depends on their shape. Like, what does all that excess magic do? Like, where does it go? Do they dump it somewhere, or do they just legit have no capacity, or like no upper limit? And that'd be kind of crazy, but I mean, I suppose they need to if they're dealing with witches like Amadoro, or anyone with actual decent magic reserves, and not the Desscaras faker. Let's see. even Takeyomi's like what? Let's see. Oh. Zayero, my glorious handsome king. Yeah, okay. So even still, they both need to apply both of their sacred treasures. So the divine pillar wouldn't have been enough. They needed to use the chakram and the divine pillar in order to start draining her. Her magic reserves are ridiculous. Pinned by not 1, but 2 sacred treasures, and she's still conscious. I mean, that is, from what we know, that's insane. It does, funnily enough, though, I guess it also implies that Desscaras could also probably tank 1 or 2 of these. Will we see that? Doubtful? I don't think. Like, at least with how the Magic Keepers have been set up so far, especially with how quickly even though I am now in the common camp that Amadoro is being controlled, right? I'm assuming we're probably not going to see the Magic Keepers versus our main crew. I'm not gonna say ever, but I just highly doubt. I don't think we're gonna see that. Though the idea of Desscaras going up against the Magic Keepers would be interesting, especially since, as people pointed out in the last review, it is possible that due to whatever spell is controlling Amadoro, that she's legit unable to operate at her full capacity because she's she's operating very narrow-mindedly and isn't being as creative as we could be, or creative as she could be, right? Because technically, in a lot of the fights we've seen Desscaras in the very limited capacity that we've seen Desscaras fight in, despite being nearly 100 chapters deep, she has been relatively simple, but I don't think that's because she necessarily is a relatively simple fighter. I just think she hasn't necessarily had the stimuli to do more than what she's needed to do. So we'll see. I must kill him for my sweet friend. I mean, cool story, bro, but his name is on the book. Let's see. I must kill Ichi the Witch. Oh. Interesting, though. He's getting, I mean, I guess probably because repeated application of it, especially with both of his mentors being right there, being like, hey, don't do it. It is interesting seeing Ichi, like, still, he gets the trigger, right? He gets the trigger to react, but he's not actively reacting, right? It's kind of like, what's a good example? I'm trying to think of, like, a good, solid example. Because I was going to say, like, whenever I hurt myself, and not in, like, an actual, like, intentional way, but, like, whenever I bump into something, I don't even really, like, unless it's actually something major, I don't really make a verbalization, but I just go, ow, right? Like, I've bumped into something and been like, ow, with a whole second of delay. Because, I don't know, I've been trained to say that in response to pain, even though it didn't really hurt. And Ichi's kind of at that point with his, like, bloodless reactions, where he, like, he does it, he feels it, he reacts, then he's like, eh, and then he stops. Which is a good thing. I do wonder, though, as much as I do understand both Desscaras' and Takeyomi's, like, desire to keep him not doing that, I do wonder if that's ever going to backfire. Like, there's going to be a moment where his consistent, like, hey, curb your instincts kind of thing will get turned against him, where if he had reacted in a moment according to his instincts as a hunter, or just as a being trying to survive, then he would have actually made it out of a situation. Because I don't know, just in the same way that, like, the opposite, the way that Ichi's consistent bloodless reactions have been set up for something like this, where he almost got himself killed if it wasn't for Takeyomi, I'm assuming we're also having an inverse setup where he's going to tame them so well that it's going to backfire on him. Let's see. Twitch? Alright. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so he was, never mind. He was still gonna lunge forward. But Goku Raku holds him back, like, hey, gang. Usa. Usa. Good on him. Good on Goku Raku. Even Desscaras is clearly also annoyed with it. I get that, though. And it's hard. It's hard to, like, that's the thing. I feel like the ow isn't a good response. Okay, here's a better example, I think. My name, Pencil, is very common. And notably, a lot of other names sound like my name. So I will respond to anything that vaguely sounds like my name. And by responding, I mean, like, that's something I do on, like, it doesn't even matter, because I'm so used to hearing variations on pen or pencil, penny, like a variety of different names that, like, I just react to any of them. And technically, I really shouldn't do that, because sometimes, especially with the size of the guy I am, when I jolt fast, because I move fast, despite being hefty, it does scare people on occasion. That's probably a more apt thing. Ichi's responding naturally to something he's gotten used to, and he still needs to curb it. And clearly, Desscaras and Goku Raku helped him curb it. Desscaras was ready to help him curb it, and Kabuki in the back is just here for moral support. Here for moral support. Let's see. Ichi. Oh, all right. Darn, make it 3 sacred treasures. All right. Let's see. Amadoro ribbon. Whoa. Not Chun's voice. Let's see. Amadoro ribbon candy. The bullet witch. You performed traitorous acts against the Mantanal Witches Association. You resisted Magic Keeper's attempts to detain you, and you engaged in violent, reckless behavior. I am placing you under arrest. You will be detained and escorted to Magic Keeper HQ immediately. But what if it's not her fault, though? What if it's not her fault? What if she's been gaslit? Let's see. Oh, wait. Monogold? Are you actually going to do something? Let's see. Commissioner, please wait. I ask that you grant the association time to ask her a few questions. Before you take her away, let's at least find out why. Witches are forbidden from involving themselves with witch criminals in any way. Have you forgotten? That is an interesting loophole, especially considering, like, the way the Mantanal has been established is, like, the premier authority on magic, right? That's how they've been established so far. We know other witch associations are a thing. We've heard nothing about them. It's like, we know they exist. That's it. So it is interesting. Though I understand to a degree, but it is interesting that the premier authority can't even, like, interfere at all, especially when it is one of their own. And I even, like, they're not saying we'll take her into custody. They're like, hey, could we just, like, figure out, like, what's going on? And Chun's like, but at the same time, who knows? No, we have not, and we did not. This entire Toges, have you been here? I guess Shirobadana was watching. Like, I know she, like, felt the impact of the battle, but Toges, have you been around? Let's see. This entire time, none of us did a single thing to interfere with your confrontation with Amadoro. Okay. Okay. I mean, good excuse for why we didn't see Monogold do it. Like, I mean, I'm not professing that Monogold's gonna be, like, the strongest or anything, right? I was gonna say, typically leaders in stories like this never are, but, like, the main one that's coming to mind is, like, the Gote 13 from Bleach, and Yamamoto, for all intents and purposes, until Aizen evolves, by the time Aizen does evolve, he's not part of the Gote 13 anymore. Yamamoto is the strongest of the Gote 13 for a majority of his narrative involvement as the leader of the Gote 13. He only really realistically gets surpassed, question mark, exclamation point, post his death. So, like, I mean, maybe that one doesn't count. And Meliodas is the strongest of the Seven Deadly Sins. Aldous was the strongest of the Ten Commandments, and obviously Mel was the strongest of the Ten Commandments. I mean, I know Pain versus Obito debates rage on, but technically Obito was the leader of the Akatsuki. And he's arguably the strongest. Or if you take Pain, the front runner, as the leader of the Akatsuki, he's consistently called the Akatsuki's strongest man. So, like, technically, I guess Monogold is somewhat of an outlier in terms of not confirmed to not be the most powerful of our organization. But it would have been neat to see Monogold do something, because I still believe she's gonna die eventually. Maybe I'm putting too many death flags out though. I keep saying Takeyomi's gonna die, and y'all agree with me. I keep saying Desscaras gonna die, and y'all agree with me. And I said Monogold's gonna die just from all the way back in, like, chapter 16 of her talking about, like, future leaders of the association. But maybe I gotta chill. Who knows? Because, like, there's still, I'm thinking of Irumakuna. There still has been no major character death there. And that's been going on for over 4 times as long as Ichi. But let's see. Grip? Oh, but she's like, we didn't interfere. Boy, did we want to. Let's see. I'm not asking for the right to interrogate Amadoro the criminal. I'm asking for the right to, I'm asking for the right to talk to Amadoro the person and hear what she has to say. And you know what though? I like that Chun honors that request, right? As much as there's clear animosity, and understandably so, admittedly, right? It's just kind of how organizations go. As much as there's clear animosity between these two leaders, there is still that fundamental respect of, like, hey, boot on the other foot, what would you want us to do, right? Obviously the boot kind of can't be on the other foot because of the way how these organizations interact, but still. I get that. Though I do wonder, actually, maybe it could be on the other foot. Like, if a Manga Keeper were to go rogue and attack the Mental Witch Association and they subdued him, I don't think they'd be allowed to take, I don't think the Magic Keepers would be allowed to take the rogue Magic Keeper into custody. Right? I don't actually know. Let's see. Amadora. ... I am utterly ashamed of myself. What do you mean by that? Let's see. I have no words to excuse my behavior. I'm really, truly sorry. I failed. Oh no, she's still, I see the eye, she's still under control. Alright. I could not keep my promise. Oh! I guess she did blow a massive hole in the roof, but she was nearby. I mean, I guess it does make sense. I wonder if that implies, like, is there a range? This 100%, at least in my mind, confirms that Fujimine, the Vanquisher Witch, has the ability to control people. But also, question mark, exclamation point, does she have, like, a limited range on that magic? I wonder. Because, like, she was very nearby when this all started. Remember, she left the World Haters Realm, wherever that is, and it was just kind of, like, floating a few miles away from the association. So, like, I do wonder. And this is, seemingly enough, at least from what it looks like, that looks like the Toxiterra magic. That was, like, the thing that she initially betrayed the association for all those years ago. Let's see. Chun is like, huh? Monogold. Though, she got mad aura. Very, like, and I'll say this, especially for our first major antagonist witch, right? Like, something that was bound to happen. Don't get me wrong, I love all the Mahjong antagonists we've had so far. I still really like Bakcham, I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Bakcham, I love Kizashi, I love Hitsuki. For how short of a narrative run he did end up having, I will admit. And Hisame was fun in their arc, and even Inazuri had good characterization for the limited time he was allowed to be a character separate from Ichi. But Fujimine, in particular, stands in such interesting contrast to Ichi as a main character. From design-wise, like, Ichi's hair is relatively short, but Fujimina's hair is really, really long. Ichi's design, in most instances, is actually relatively tame and simple. And meanwhile, you could argue the same for Fujimine, but she has a lot of frills on her design. She has the checkerboard, like, the diamond checkerboard pattern on, I'm not sure what this would be called, overcoat? Sleeveless coat? Something. And even still has that, like, same, even has the choker, I believe Ichi does, which is a good way to, let me see, does Ichi have a choker? No, he doesn't. I don't know why I thought Ichi had a choker, but essentially, even then, you could argue that's more like the design contrast. But all that to be said, really good contrast there, and very specifically, their ideologies on how they view life, right? At least from what we know of Fujimine so far, and, you know, her dynamic with the World Hater, and at least according to Chun, she, like, doesn't care at all about life. Which is, you know, direct opposition to Ichi, who cares heavily about life and its sanctity and giving it its proper due respect. So Fujimine, of the antagonists we've had so far, stands so directly in opposition to Ichi, almost as much as the World Hater, which I do like. And admittedly, though, I'd say the World Hater, at least to some degree, from what little we know of them so far, does operate on some sort of logic. And, like, I'm destroying things at this point, per my role, right? This whole idea that magics are purposed or designed. Meanwhile, Fujimine, as far as we know, just commits wanton slaughter. I don't know if we're going to get backstory to this character, but at this point, that is evil, which works for Ichi. Let's see. They got my wife, bro. That's actually... Hold on. Wait. Okay. No, wait. Couple things here. First, let me see if I can hit Fujimina's voice. I feel like I'm lowering my register right now. Hold on. There we go. Desi, hiya. How you been? Goku, Haku, Ichi, and Kabuya like, wait, what? Ah, okay. I like how you can see the shift, though. Interesting, though. You can literally see the shift happen. Like, at first, everyone seems to be just paralyzed in shock and confusion. But you can see Desscaras' eyes here in this tiny panel get overwritten by the same, like, black marks. Presumably, like, the same toxins. But I thought the toxin magic was, like, poisonous. I don't know. I may need to reread that chapter. But the same brainwashing spell that clearly afflicted Amaduro with the blackened eyes, the same eyes that Fujimine has, immediately wash over Desscaras as well. Her golden eyes. Which is... I think it is good, though, right? As much as I was about to say, like, they keep nerfing and balancing my wife, please! But at the same time, very specifically, I actually do prefer when strongest archetype tier characters still are fallible, still do have weaknesses. Ichi, who in my opinion, out of the new gen, is the best representation of the strongest character. He was still a guy, right? like, ultimately, at the end of the day, he still had a limited lifespan, and he messed up and he made mistakes, and he also, like, could have died to poison if he ever got hit. Never got hit. So, there's that. You even have characters of Satoru Gojo fame and Ryomen Sukuna fame. Two characters who are also fallible, right? And still make human mistakes and are still susceptible to certain abilities, even of characters that are either comparable or weaker to them, right? Thusly, Desscaras is falling into that same point. Like, I'm going, All Might, a guy. All for One, despite being a superhuman, a guy. Like, think of all these strongest archetype tier characters. They usually do still have susceptibility to certain things. And sure, not only is Desscaras now being compared to other witches in terms of, like, magical reserves and output, but also she is fallible, right? She seemingly was just caught off guard here because she wasn't expecting Fujimine to just fall out the sky, and then she got seemingly mind-haxed. It's balancing, but honestly, the more balancing Desscaras gets as a character, the longer I think she'll last. So we take those. The more and more we lower her down in terms of, like, oh, she's actually interactable in certain ways, beyond her just, like, personality, the higher and higher likelihood that I'm assuming we're not gonna have to prison realm her. We don't have to put her in a box, not just yet. Let's see. Oh, Fujimine, you're here. Sheesh, you're always dropping in out of nowhere. Sorry, Mooney, it's been forever. Mooney? Interesting. I mean, Monogold. It's good to see you're doing well, Fujimine. Oh, yeah, so they're all under control. Alright. That's very impressive. I mean, and notably, as far as I can tell, she didn't cast any particular spell. Unless like it's implied that there's a spell cast here that I'm missing, or maybe just the magic that's surrounding her is already an activated spell that's leaking like a certain, I don't know, gas that's like taking over people. I don't know if the thing toxic. I mean, toxic fumes are a thing, right? Like, for example, carbon monoxide. If you have a leak of that in your home and you don't know about it because invisible and you can't smell it, you just die. So like that could be the case here. Though admittedly the magic isn't surrounding her in these panels, but still could be just be a perception thing. But all that being the case, she's done this with no spell cast, at least not visibly. Let's see. Hiya guys. Hiya. even this guy, I forget his name, but Monogold's man? They were about to go on vacation together before Ichi crashed. Let's see. Oh, do you need something from us, Fujimine? They got my son. Oh, of course, if they got Desscaras, they got my son. Oh, poor Kabuki. Just a victim. Kabuki, we gotta get you some agency, dog. Kabuki, I know you got a little bit of agency. We gotta get you some more agency, dog. It's been so long. It's been so long, Kabuki. We gotta help you. Let's see. Yeah, about that. See, I got a tiny little favor to ask. Really? Ask away. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's presumably this magic, which it still looks like the Toxicary magic, but it's this magic that's causing this. It just wasn't drawn here. Let's see, Amadura over there. Could you maybe let me have her? I mean, shoot. You know, me and others have been pushing a certain type of narrative about Ichi the Witch, but go ahead, go take your woman. I know it's because she's under my control that she doesn't want her to be arrested, and she's also very, very powerful. But still, let's see. There's something I really have to talk to her about. Please. What do you say? Well, I suppose Fujimine says she needs her. I'm sure she has good reason. Yeah, I have no objection. So, well, to be fair though, it makes sense. If anything, you would expect the Magic Keepers to be much more susceptible to magic, because they like, we're arguably maybe, and to be fair, not every universe operates like Bleach, or even, I'd even say Seven Sins to a degree, but Seven Sins after a certain threshold, like you do, like there are just certain things just won't work on you, but still there's like large gaps, right? I'm thinking of like certain hacks things in Seven Sins that like don't work after a certain point of power a character reaches, but there's still some hacks that work like drastic. I'm thinking of very specifically, I forget what the character's name is. Deldry? I think Deldry in Seven Sins is a character who can inflict like a love thing on their opponent, and it works on Fraudrin, who like is so far, like I don't even think combat class wise, like I think Deldry's barely over 1,000, if that. Meanwhile, Fraudrin at that point, even if he is in Dreyfus's body, which is weaker than his real form, or debatably weaker than his real form, stronger ironically, it's still like such a massive gap, and it still works there. So I'm not sure if Ichi the Witch will go on to a stat, especially with us just introducing magic reserves and stuff like that, and the Sacred Treasure, like a bunch of magic counters right now, and a more magic justification. I'm not sure if it's going to be a thing where, like, hacks can be resisted by raw power, right? Like, in Bleach, it is just a fact, right? Aizen explains to us, hey, after a certain point, your abilities legit just don't work on me because I have too much power. Literally too much Rayatsu for your stuff to work on me, gang. Deuces. And in Seven Sins, there's some abilities that just stop working after a certain point. And admittedly, some of this is due to hacks, and some of it is due to just sheer magic reserves that characters have. So, the reason I say all this, men don't have any magic reserves. So, if a magical ability were to directly affect their mind, or any part of their body, realistically, yeah, outside of their sacred treasures, which are immune, they coming in contact with sacred treasures wouldn't. I mean, like, you could argue maybe if magic is infecting their body, should them being in contact with their sacred treasure drain the magic out? Possibly. That's the only thing I could possibly see as a defense, but I get why Sayero and Takeyomi are, like, immediately taken over, because they probably don't have any resistance. Thanks, guys. I'm so sorry for all the fuss. I'll give Amaduro a good scolding, don't you worry. You'd bet. Oh, my son, my baby. I don't care if he's literally like 3 me tall, bro. Go cry with my baby, too. Let's see. We just can't compete with you, Master Fujimine. Kabuki reduced to nothing but a glaze machine. Kabuki, no! Haha, I appreciate this, you guys. Wow. And and here's the thing, to be able to control so many people at once, especially the main thing that impresses me about this is controlling Amaduro and Desscaras at the same time. Right? Like, and admittedly, Amaduro just had a bunch of her magic drained, right? And so any passive resistance I was talking about that could exist may be gone because of the sacred treasures that are actually holding her down. But Desscaras, and Zayero. And, well, to be fair, once again, maybe it's a little less impressive once again because Amador was nerfed, but still, regardless, insane. Very unnerving panel. Shockwave. This is actually struck a little fear to my heart. I'll say, boy, I love you all so much. Why does this reminds me of something? I forget what this reminds something about like the whole love and control thing. Like obviously Deldry from Seven Leagues coming to mind, but there's another character who does this. I forget what it is. Let's see. Ooh, oh, I love that. Ooh, this is beautiful. This is how you think of it. And I bet and I'm not sure. It's based on. It may not be the case. This probably is a page turn in like the actual physical volumes, but I love that here you see both sides of it. You get to see her leaning left, him leaning right in order to swing on her. All right, let's see. And I hate your rotten guts. Ooh, weave is back. Weave is back. All right. Huh? Wow. Now this is weird. Oh, I also do I like the vampiric. I think that's what the vibe she was giving me. I think that's why it's so unnerving. It's the fangs. Vampiric imagery with a character that's based on like recklessly taking lives is also just really good like design symbolism. And another great way to contrast Ichi, who like doesn't actually, despite being of the hunter archetype, he's rarely ever portrayed with fangs. In fact, the only time he's ever portrayed the sharp teeth is when Uro, we know, like another predator archetype, is controlling his body. In fact, I do wonder what Uro feels about all this. Like, does he not have any say or like influence on Ichi being controlled? And anything, I wonder if this could accidentally lead to him getting control, because technically Ichi's body isn't under his own control right now. I don't know. Let's see. Now this is weird. How come you don't love me? It is there's some ability I'm forgetting about, bro. I'm gonna finish this review. I'm gonna have to look it up after. There's some ability of a character controlling someone through love. I don't know what it is. It's not just Eldritch. There's some other character thing. I'm not even sure if I'm saying this similarly since character's name right. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Is this your second time? Oopsie. Have I dosed you with my love before? Okay. Interesting. So if multiple dosages don't work. She may have not wanted to burn it on. I get. This is an interesting choice then. Let's see. The second one is interesting though. Dosed with the love. I thought it was like the Toxiterra magic that's floating behind her. Maybe it's something different. Let's see. The second one is generally less potent than the first. Oh well. I made bunches of other friends. Oh, Chun. Oh no. Like this is a jellyfish. Interesting. I didn't notice the design on the back of Amadoro though. Let's see. I made bunches of other friends. It was like I haven't seen Steven Universe the movie ever, I don't think, but I was obsessed with all the songs from that movie. And Other Friends, like I don't know what it just came across my feed one day, and now that's been looping in my head over and over again. Let's see. I guess missing one or two is no big deal. Hop, Kabugi, what are you about to do? You about to box? Kabugi, I see you put them doing stuff. What you want to do? Be interesting. Gokuraku, Ichi, Takeyomi. Oh, interesting. So the Majik is literally linked to all of them. Desscaras, Zayero. Oh, Monogold as well. So technically, yeah, Monogold should. This is still a very impressive feat for Fujimine, because she's controlling Desscaras, Monogold, who should both be at full magic reserves, and still Amadora, presumably. Interesting that she's not killing Ichi, though. You think she'd take that opportunity to do it now, right? like especially since that was her whole main objective with Amadora. You'd think she'd be like, well, I mean, obviously. Come back. I get like the meta narrative reasoning, right? Like his name is on the manga. I say it all the time. But you think she'd be like, especially since she has him so close, she'd be like, and then just leave, right? Right? Especially since specifically she already apologized to the world hater, being like, oh, I'm probably gonna kill him, probably gonna dip him. Like you think she'd do it, but who knows? Maybe Ichi has intrigued her in a different way now. Let's see. If you don't mind, I'm gonna take this cutie pie home with me. Oh, interesting. So she's taking him, not killing him. Understandable. Also, she may not want to fight Uro, right? Like, I guess the main issue now, it is a very, funnily enough, it is a very, actually no, because in the case of the Jinchuriki from Naruto, you kill the host, the beast dies too. They'll come back eventually, but the beast dies too. But I'm thinking of, what's the character that's like a living seal? What am I thinking of? I'm dumb. What am I thinking of? There's some character I'm thinking of. It's not Haruka, I don't think. Essentially, Ichi is a living seal on Uro, and who knows, especially with Uro's like hype as, you know, great Magic Man. Though admittedly, Fujimine does now have the resources to fight Uro if she needed to. Probably wouldn't just be worth it. Would not be worth the risk. But let's see. I'll kill you. Alright, that's the end of the chapter. Sorry, that was a little weak. Hold on, let me redo that one. W chapter. I like it. I like specifically confirming. Shout out to everyone who called it immediately. I give y'all credit. Everyone who called immediately that Fujimine was mind controlling, fantastic work. Y'all read details way better than I do. But on top of that, I do like the extrapolation on the magic system a bit more. I like the dynamics of Ichi and his crew being further established. I like seeing little things like this. Like I mentioned, the dynamic between Monogold and Chun here as two leaders of directly opposed in many ways organizations is really, really nice to see. And obviously Fujimine just dropping in. Obviously it makes sense. She was nearby, but also seeing her in action and seeing how dangerous she could be. Well, presumably not even fighting herself, right? Like she's used one spell. And obviously Fujimine was a full-fledged witch before she even got the Toxoterra Magic. So even if she's not like a Desscaras level in terms of abyssal, like having hundreds if not thousands of magics, I'm not sure if Desscaras really has that many, but still a lot, she probably has an arsenal all her own, and she was able to react to and completely avoid Chun on his own. And while we don't know where Chun stands relative to his organization, he still presumably should be pretty darn strong. So the fact that while bloodlusted she was able to absolutely weave him no problem and is able to control this many people, great way to glaze Fujimine as presumably a hopefully longer term antagonist than Hitsugi. I really liked Hitsugi. I really liked him. But boy, did that man not last like 2 seconds. But let's move on right into chapter 85. Ooh, well, I now know what the thumbnail for the video is going to be. But all right. 85th Hunt, hate you. All right. Fujimine's color design. I'm actually happy they did keep it relatively simple in terms of the colors. The black and white is actually very interesting. Once again, to go to contrast further and still that very consistent Fang imagery, the vampire-esque look. I like it. But very specifically, even actually no, this further feeds into the contrast yet parody with Ichi. I just realized her tie is attached to her choker. Interesting design choice there. But essentially, note how Ichi's eyes are. In fact, is there a way I can quickly show Ichi's eyes? They're red. All right, at least I'm pretty sure. Let me make sure I'm not tweaking. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not tweaking real quick. I'm pretty sure Ichi's eyes are red. Let me do this. Hold on, come here. Take me all the way back to chapter. Yeah, they are red. For a moment there, I was genuinely doubting myself. But let me see. Yeah, all right. So here we go. All the way back in chapter 1. Ichi's eyes are red, right? Or at least they're a red-ish. You could argue they're like, oh, they're more magenta. They're red. All right, they're red. But Fujimine's eyes are blue. Ichi, and in fact, I can literally use these two color pages as perfect contrast for both of their designs. Ichi's design, or no, red eyes, blue eyes. Long hair, shorter hair. Though we do know that Ichi does technically keep his hair like tied up here in the back. It's just much shorter than Fujimine. Woman, man, no doubt. I mean, one's a witch, one's a male witch. Like we know what that one is. The design of Fujimine, shockingly enough, very open, very like her arms are bared. We know her legs are bared, like legit all the way down, and even the complexity of their outfits. Ichi's outfit, while it does have its nice design details, is still relatively simple. It's a button-up, it's closed, it's very tight. He covers up a lot of his body, this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, Fujimine, very loose, very open and very frilly, ironically enough, from the ends of her gloves to her skirt to everything about her gives a lot more flow and openness in comparison to Ichi's constraint and limitation. And even the other major design detail of Fujimine, like her most prominent torso piece being patterned black and white. Meanwhile, Ichi's primary is just a pure black with like a hinted accent of white. Very fantastic way to contrast these two characters. And essentially, what I assume is set up Ichi's long-term human villain, right? If the World Hater was set up as early as chapter, what, like 16? He was very, very early on, or they were very early on, because they really don't have a gender yet. But the World Hater was set up super dumb stupid early on as Ichi's like endgame for right now. I still think we're fighting God, but endgame antagonist. Fujimine has been well set up as a counterpoint human antagonist for Ichi. And presumably these two will have a lot of interesting conflicts. Obviously right now, though, she's diffing him. Horrifically diffing him, and that makes sense. And even then, as much as I talked about the contrast of these two designs, the other point I will glaze is the parody in these two designs. From the mostly dark black hair to both of them wearing gloves consistently, to very specifically their interactions in the realms of life and death. You know, Fujimine is a Vanquisher, which is another way you could call a hunter, and Ichi at the same time is, you know, Ichi the hunter witch. And on top of that, you do have them sharing a very monochrome color scheme, with only hints of color in there in their eyes and stuff like that, and the glove wearing and everything. Like, these two characters, really fantastic work. Because I now know Osamu Sensei does do the base designs, and then Shirizaki Sensei essentially interprets the designs. So fantastic work by both of these mangaka for going in and creating character designs that so perfectly mirror each other. So great work. Let's hop right into chapter 85. Oh wait, hold on, let me pre-draw. Hate you. I messed up. There we go. Let's see. My requests are like promises, okay? I know you'll all keep them. So, get him, Desi! Oh, but actually, you know what? This will be a good way to test. Like, hey, like, if she's expressing control over them, is there any resistance? And, or, can they operate at full capacity, right? Because, like, Chun should be fried, right? Like, he's in a 1v, like, 7 right now, but also Desscaras is the strongest witch in the world. So let's actually see the leader of the Mountain Keepers go up against Desscaras and see how that works. Let's see. Zo. Boom. Alright, Lazud. Interesting. This is actually, I don't think we've seen Desscaras use Lazud like this. Maybe it's because of the Sacred Treasure mace he's wielding, but Desscaras using Lazud has always like been like a launch forward attack. It's why I was like, Amaduro using, shout out to everyone who pointed out the very many different uses of Lazud as a possible like projectile spell rather than just, you know, regularly using it. But Lazud has always been a projectile. So it's interesting that to see Desscaras like imbue Lazud into her sword and then launch herself with it and sort of like just turn herself into a living projectile. Though, admittedly, probably not that optimal, right? Because she's concentrating it all down onto one point and not, you know, just blowing away a majority of his body. We don't know how the Sacred Treasures would work. Like, if one were to block with a Sacred Treasure on an attack that, like, went around the Sacred Treasure, would that like, focus in? Like, we know for, specifically against Amaduro, we saw Minakata had to spin the Divine Pillar in order to block all of her bullets, right? It's not like the bullets, just because they were going past or grazing the Sacred Treasure, would have been absorbed. He had to actively block them. So technically, this is already Desscaras fighting unoptimal. Though, admittedly, it's clear that Desscaras is a league above, as this one, presumably unoptimal Lazud still does cause this and send him flying. Let's see. Hey, should I do something? Interesting, though. They don't act autonomously, at least nowhere near as autonomously as Amaduro did. They're all standing there awaiting orders. So maybe there's probably some sort of drawback to the spell. And interesting, once again, these two designs next to each other parallel really well. Even the Ichi only having one a Hoge. Meanwhile, Kamugi or Fujimine has twin tails. Or I think these are twin. I don't know hair. Look at the top of my head. Does it look like I know hair? Let's see. Nope. You're my hug pillow, so you stay just like this. Okay. Knowing that Fujimine is like 30, get off my son. Get off my son. To be fair though, we don't know Ichi's age. I've seen people speculate he's as old as like 18. We just don't know. Sensei's been very vague, which still, I keep bringing it up, but it's still really weird with how specific they are with the ages in Irumakun. I wonder if that's just like a Shonen Jump thing. I don't know. But even then, we know the ages of other characters in Shonen Jump. I don't know why. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, let's all cheer for Desi too. Go, Desi, go! Admittedly, though, it all looks very half-hearted. like Kamugi's not double-fisted it. Goguraku's not double-fisted either. Just like, yeah! It's very bare minimum. But at the same time, though, they could just be mirroring Fujimine. Let's see. Kill him, Desi! What? Kill him. Just incapacitating him should be good enough. Nuh-uh. Nope. No holding back, okay? Oh, and while we're at it, let's go find Madoka and Mirsam, the prophecy magic, and kill them too. You know what though? We already may be seeing some hack resistance right here because of Magic Reserve, because she's already questioning back. Amaduro, well, okay, I could chalk it up to her controlling multiple people at once now, but Amaduro didn't fight back to anything. She was full on murder warpath. Though, admittedly, she was distracted. And actually, no. Technically, no. Desscaras and Amaduro, two characters with extremely high magic reserves, have shown, like, pseudo-levels of resistance already. In the sense of, like, they will be distracted and start doing unoptimal things in comparison to what they are directly ordered to be doing. So, my goats? Let's see. Let's go. But very interesting. Now she's interested enough in Ichi that she doesn't want to immediately execute him, even though she very easily could right now. He's literally holding him. So to start, keep pushing. Have Desscaras lose his forehead. Like there's a variety of ways she could get rid of Ichi right now, but main character. But she is still fully on, hey, the Prophecy Magic and Madoka. Slay them both. Like, interesting that she knows Madoka's name. Well, to be fair, leaked information. Could have been told. But still, in that case, she's still 100%, yeah, I'm not interested at all in those. Remove them because they could be a threat. Let's see.
Amadoros did such a good job, you know? She made sure you were all super distracted and confused. I'm gonna push this as far as I can. I mean, opportunity's sitting right here. The opportunity's sitting right here. How could I not tear the whole association down and make it a gift for Haiti?
I'm still very intrigued with her dynamic with the World Eater. Like, how does that work? I still want to see the other, like, especially with the way Hitsuki was built up. I need more, man. I'm not gonna lie, I need more. Let's see.
See, once I get a taste of something, I'm the kind of girl who just has to devour it down to the last bite.
Oh, I wonder, like, I assume Amaduro, when she was expressing that same kind of mentality, was just true to Amaduro's nature. Interesting that Fujimine also was in that same, like, I need to give it my all, right? I can't, I'm not the kind of person who can halfway commit to something. I need to go all the way in. Let's see.
T?
I need to hit a tee, and even then, I can't do that properly. I can't hit a he. It just doesn't sound right. I know, I'm a full-grown man trying to do a woman's voice. I do my best, all right? Let's see.
Oh, if you say so.
Oh, wait, she's gripping the sword?
Fujimine.
Okay. To be fair, though, you could still definitely chalk that up to Fujimine controlling that many people at once. But Desscaras is alright. Like, that we love that. We as Desscaras, we all collectively as Desscaras Glazers love this. She's like her, even in the deepest depths of control, her morals, her mind, her basis is like, what are we doing? A Jake was like, wait, what's happening right now? Path. And interesting though, that is entirely her subconscious acting, because it's clear her active mind, or what remains of her active mind, is still like trying to obey, but like her left hand literally grabs her right. It's like, don't be still. Like, even Fujimine is like, is this how that's working? Oh, interesting. So it looks like the control may have started to fade. Fujimine notices this, locks in, proceeds to goes to put another one on. But then Chun launches, looks like, I'm assuming this is Chun launching rocks, but the tentacle from presumably the Toxic Terror Magic goes in to touch Desscaras again. But in reaction to Chun's attack on her, presumably both Desscaras go to defend themselves, but as a byproduct also defend from the Fujimine tentacle, or the Toxic Terror tentacle. Let's see. Oh, but I mean, hey, he didn't take any damage. Shout out to the goat, man. I thought like, especially the way he was looking here, I thought he took serious damage. No, he was thrown into the wall, but he ate that. Okay. Trying to see you. Let's see. From what I can tell so far, you're using an airborne toxin to cast some sort of mind control spell. Brainwashing? No, this is nothing so quaint. Whoever is caught in it becomes convinced that you're someone important to them. I know what you are, Samonishi Sensei. You can't deceive me. I know Book of the End. That isn't what I was thinking of, though. That definitely is what I thought it was legit. Like, specifically, like, mind, like, love-based mind control. But, and technically it is still, but, and to be fair, it's not as cracked as Book of the End. It is just leading to direct control. Like, I don't think Fujimine suddenly understands, like, the ins and outs of all these people. If she were to fight them, right? Like, the crazy thing about Book of the End from Bleach, specifically in the context of the Byakuya fight, even though he still ended up losing that fight, but in the context of the Byakuya fight, the most insane thing about Book of the End there was that he just fundamentally understood everything by inserting himself into somebody's past and into the past of the environment, right? Like that, it was like straight inverse Almighty Da. Like it was like Book of the End was stupid, but it is the very similar concept here by Fujimine literally, well, I'm assuming Chun's assumption is right here, but by Fujimine literally inserting herself into these people's memories, they're listening to her out of that specifically. It is interesting. And I guess you could argue there's like maybe some minor aspect of mind control to it, but it is very true. I would, like, there are certain people I don't think I'd do anything for, but yeah, if someone was put on the level of like certain family members or certain friends of mine, and they were to spontaneously ask me to do something that I may not immediately want to do, yeah, I'm folding, because they're them. And Fujimine presumably doing the same thing here is allowing her to get away with a whole lot. But at the same time, it's clear that it's not perfect as a spell because it runs into conflict problems. Like, one, this could just be Desscaras resisting through sheer mind control, but also the initial resistance from Desscaras of incapacitating him should be good enough. That's because Desscaras herself as a person, in spite of whatever insertion Fujimine did into Desscaras' memory, she herself is against slaughtering humans. She only did it for Hitsugi because, once again, they were already dead, for one. And for two, it was specifically for the case of a trial. This isn't for the case of a trial. She's just being told to go commit rampant murder, which Desscaras isn't cool with. So that conflict immediately kicks in and causes an interference here. Even the same thing with Amaduro and her target priority, right? The second she was met with something that actually intrigued her in Takeomi, she immediately focused on that and then need to be redirected back to doing so. So the spell isn't perfect, and it does take advantage of like human instincts, but still very strong. What you're doing is vanquishing their true memories. Ah, interesting. So I'm assuming Fujimine is inserting herself into the role of... This may be her inserting herself into the role of... Interesting, there's no memory here. But inserting herself into the role of Takeomi? Maybe? Because Ichi looks around that same age in that same outfit. I'm not sure who she'd be inserting. We have context for Kamugi's past, but I'm not sure who she'd be replacing here. She may just be inserting herself as in like someone there to comfort Kamugi. Let's see. Some context for Zayero. I have no clue, but there's that. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's great. Yo, that's a wild play. I mean, to be fair though, one of the most core places to insert a memory of Desscaras probably wouldn't be the Mantel Witch Association themselves. Probably would be back in her childhood with Libro. Crazy pull. And I do wonder, like, how much of this is intentional and how much of this is auto adjusting, right? Like, for like one of the not weaknesses, but one of the things about Kyoko Soigetsu that makes it balanced, even though because it's Aizen, like, it doesn't have to be balanced, and this could be the same case for Fujimine. Like, Aizen needs to actively like sort of show. Well, actually, it changed. Actually, I'm not sure because he one of his most famous and one of his final lines in Bleach is specifically the idea. So you see me as Ichigo Kurosaki right now, as if he like doesn't know what's happening. Like, he doesn't know what people perceive, but at least in terms of some of these abilities like this, they're passive, right? Where it's simply, hey, you have interacted with the ability, this will now automatically occur. But I do wonder, does Fujimine herself get any sort of perspective into what role she's been forced into? Or does she not? Who knows? How active of a process this is intriguing. Let's see. But especially, it would fit if it was purely like just happenstance, because she doesn't, one, actually care, and two, because of her wanton disregard for human life, or life in general. Let's see. Interesting. So, Fujimine inserted herself in Gokuraku's past as a person there for him, presumably after the death of his mother, and possibly even his outcast. Let's see. And then Fujimine in Takeyomi's past inserts him back in a very young day. He looks a lot younger here and also a lot smaller. Oh, and who knows? This may actually be real. Well, probably not, but just a tea party with Monogold. Let's see. I suspect you cast the same spell on Amaduro, but controlling this many people at once can be easy, especially when they're all skilled, powerful people. Okay, so it is a matter of... Oh, this guy's included too. Who knows? Maybe he actually is skilled and powerful, but there is upper limits to it, right? And we can clearly see in terms of the orders of magnitude, someone as powerful as Desscaras. Shout out to Kabugi and this guy. But in terms of orders of magnitude of like strength and disparity, Desscaras pretty much immediately begins to resist once given active orders, right? And seemingly she's overriding it second after second. Let's say they're already beginning to resist. That tells me your spell isn't all powerful, which is good. I agree. Good narrative balancing. Though that does imply if she was ever in a 1v1 with somebody and she used this initially without presumably pre-dosing them, right? Chun's implied to have been pre-dosed. That's why he's resistant to it. Like, that would just be a GG, right? Like, that would just be Raps. So her burning, like, the control of Desscaras, big. Gokuraku, big. Ichi, big. And once again, from a narrative balancing standpoint, I get why, if Osamu Nishi Sensei was to introduce an ability like this, why they want to get it, like, off the table for Fujimine, because then, in every ensuing encounter with Fujimine, because presumably this isn't going to be the only one, in every ensuing encounter with Fujimine, there would be the question of, well, why doesn't she just do this to Ichi? If they're ever fighting, why not just do this to Ichi? The reason now why is because it just doesn't work. Like, Chun doesn't seem affected at all. Even though she probably did try. Let's say, once you counsel on someone, they develop a tolerance. I actually seem to annoy Fujimine. Let's say.
Like you did.
Oh! Okay.
Like you did. After I took control of you and made you turn on your Magic Keeper friends, killing them all.
Well, let's just say I get why he hates her. Oh, darn! That is crazy, though. But funnily enough, just as I said, it makes sense why Desscaras would immediately begin to hesitate in the sense of, like, doing something that drastically contrasts her morals, right? Like, just randomly slaughtering innocent people, right? As much as she may have had, like, predilections or not been the most fond of Sammy or Mirsum, like, Monika's a baby. Right? Like, the second you tell Desscaras, hey, go slaughter this baby, no matter how close you were with her, she's gonna be like, doesn't fit my modus operandi. But it is possible. Like, we don't know the full background and history of Chun, but he may have been, like, it may have been able to do that, one, because Fujimine was controlling him directly, for one, and may have been the only person she was controlling. But for two, based on the nature of their job, they're kind of used to brutalizing people. Like, not magics. Their whole job is to fight people. So, and who knows? Like, we don't know what happens if, like, a witch is too strong and maybe they can't just incapacitate her and they brutalize them. So, like, that would make sense even within the context of, yeah, Fujimine can give an order, and as long as it doesn't too heavily contrast with your morals, you'll follow through with it. Let's say.
Oh, that looks sad. I just realized that now. Ah, now I remember. You must be that boy, the one who came to arrest me years.
How old are these characters, man? Does Fujimine scream 30? Maybe. Let's say.
Came to arrest me years ago. You were that short little rookie. Wow, you're still alive? Nobody really remembers much of what they do under my poison's effects.
So that has to be post Toxiterra. Because I'm assuming this is Toxiterra, right? Unless she just has multiple poison magic, which is possible. Let's see. Because we know that there are multiple magic that cover similar domains. Let's see.
They all wake up and have no idea what just happened. To you, it must have been like you blinked and everybody was dead. Well, I guess I just exposed the shocking truth. All your precious friends died because you and I worked together with love. Isn't that sweet?
That's correct. You know what, though? I do like specifically, even if I can't remember the actual character I'm thinking of. It's not Deldry. I can't remember the character I'm thinking of that deals in love and mind control. But very specifically, I do like, and it could be mockery. And notably, I think a lot of it is, right? Fujimine doesn't strike me as a character who's insane. They strike me as a character who just does not care, right? And in that same case, I do like how they explicitly go out of their way to consistently characterize a lot of their actions out of love, out of passion, out of positive emotions, right? There doesn't seem to be much, if any, malice from Fujimine, which sounds crazy considering, Vanquisher wish, murder a bunch of people. But, I don't know. They truly seem to be doing it for the love of the game. And, like I said, that's a really good contrast to Ichi. What's it?
Isn't that sweet?
Okay, that's enough bloodlust to go 30, man. Golly! But, alright. If I didn't already have that colored... because I'll admit, sometimes it's hard to color manga panels. Specifically, Blue Lock. Blue Lock, I'm trying to color all my thumbnails now, personally. And Blue Lock, it does such... Like, I don't know if it's just where I read them, but like, it does such weird, intricate pattern work that it's basically impossible to color those panels. Each of which hasn't been too bad. But, if if I didn't have that cover page, this would be it. This like look of absolute, because like this is fantastic work by Osamu Nishi Sensei and Shiro Uzaki Sensei, because this portrays such a strong mix of emotions. You can tell there's that deep foundational like anger and rage and hatred there, but there's also like there's this sadness and that moment of realization where it's hitting him that he did it, right? Like he may have held this hatred for her for so long, but not like, and may have even thought he did it, right? Like we don't see a majority of his outfit nor his sacred treasure, but he may not even like conceptualize. He may have thought it, but having it hardline confirm that he was the one who did it, right? There is a hatred and madness and sadness for obviously Fujimine, but there's still a hatred and madness and sadness towards himself, right? That guilt he may have been staving off or had misdirected now finally gets placed back on him, and now he feels it and he can do nothing but respond with rage. Let's say, darn, man's releasing so much aura it's causing wind. Let's say,
Oh, nice. I love watching people lose themselves to rage.
oh.
That moment, a person.
Okay, I know I'm saying Vanquisher a lot, but we really diving into symbolism, right? We got to start throwing a pistol around with Desscaras more. Let's see.
That moment, a person's emotion vanquishes their reason, is my favorite.
Okay. Let's see you do it, Chun. Fujimine! Yeah, but I genuinely... Okay, interesting, though. So they are still all willing to defend, and Desscaras even while under control. She may not kill Chun, but yeah, this doesn't seem like a winnable fight for him. Let's see. And she's just blissful as she sends everyone to attack. Let's take a look. Interesting. No monogold. Sends Gokuraku, sends Zayero, sends Takeyomi, sends Desscaras. No monogold. Maybe it must legit be a reserves thing. Like if she tried to send monogold here, it would have been wraps, right? Like it would have broken the spell on all of them. Let's see. Oh. A flashback? I don't know who this guy is. Interesting when I see his face. Let's see. Chun. Generations of Magic Keepers have failed to catch Fujimi. How old is she? How old is this woman? Am I dumb? How old is she? Let's see. Because generations. I know generations like generations are like 10 years, but still like she gotta at least be pushing 30. Let's see. Probably, I don't know. Could you especially with how like advanced human like care is now, people, and especially certain people, can look really, really young to like they're 60. I don't know. I still look at my own parents. I'm old, and like, they haven't aged. I don't know. They always say, "Oh, like, oh no, you have one smile line, the terror." Like to be fair, they're much older than 30, so maybe Fujimine is just older. And Magic World. Let's see. Generations of Magic Keepers have failed to catch Fujimine. Some managed to survive their attempts, but she's killed nearly everyone we've sent after her. Crazy! Let's see. She's a monster. No two ways about it. How's her magic work? No clue. What are her weaknesses? No clue. That's crazy. Y'all got nothing? Even those who survive have no clue what happened? Darn. Let's see. Our chances are slim, but we have to keep trying to take that monster down. I mean, yeah, I guess. Interesting. He's polishing his tool. Let's see. Okay. Shouldn't going even somewhat relative. You could argue though, once again, I don't see Desscaras whipping out any magic. She's just like physically sword fighting here. So yeah, she can't force them, and that explains Amadora, right? She cannot force them to operate at their full potential if they don't want to, and if they're resisting. That makes more sense. And even the way Zayero is fighting with his tool close in hand rather than throwing it. Yeah, they're all holding back. So Shun he's going relative with the 4-man right now, but still. Let's see. You can lose over and over. Doesn't matter. You can run away. That's fine too. But that flame in your soul, never let that go out. Understand? Oh. No wonder we don't get to see this guy's face. He's already dead. Alright, let's see. Chun, I bequeath it to you. Our charge. Our wish. Live. And carry on. Don't stop until we finally win. That is Magic Keeper tradition. Oh, okay, but he still lost the 41, which is fine. Interesting though, he's blonde. Is he blonde here too? No, he had the hat on. Oh. Funnily enough, he looks a lot like Amadora. Let's see.
Bye-bye, little shorty.
He's probably gonna be saved here, because I don't know. I mean, like, I kept saying there's no major character death just yet, but let's see. Okay, obviously this isn't him. Water? Alright. Oh, interesting. It doesn't even touch him. It goes around. Okay, Desscaras recognize. Is this one of the other? This is probably one of the other witches. So I'm like, all right, fine. Interesting. No Togai's intervention, but well, this may, who knows? This may actually be Togai's if Desscaras is recognizing it. But the other witches are standing by, being like, all right, Fujimine is here. We can't keep doing this. Let's see. It should have been me, not that. Okay, I'm kidding. I obviously wouldn't do that, but okay. Funnily enough, that operated how I thought maybe the Sacred Treasures would operate. It drained the magic out of Desscaras, seemingly enough. Interesting to do that by lip-to-lip contact, but that could be a magic. But all right, gives the super suck of doom, and bada bing, bada boom, free Desscaras of the mental control. All right. Ugh. Well, to be fair though, I also get why target Desscaras first, even if she isn't operating at full capacity. You don't want to fight the strongest witch. But all right. Wow. Yeah. That spell sucks. So she did recognize it. Okay, that's definitely not so, guys. All right. Oh wait. Who pointed it out? Someone point. Wait, is this the? I think this is. I think I may know who this is. You. Kid. Cool it, would ya? Don't need to go rushing off to your death. I think this is the evil witch. I think this is because people have pointed out all the way back in Fujimina's introduction that one of the witches there actually ended up looking like I forget the evil witch's name, but actually ended up looking like the evil witch. So, in that case, if that was the case, she was there when Fujimina initially betrayed and was affected too. It would explain why, one, she went away to get a counter to Fujimine, for one, and for two, the Water Association, because I believe that witch was there with the Toxiterra magic and was interacting with it while it was in that enclosure. So water as acting as a direct contrast to the poison and cleaning it out and being here to counter Fujimine directly. Very okay, good stuff. And that's at the end of the chapter too. All right. I'll banger series of chapters. I'm glad. Oh. W chapters. I like it. Honestly. Yo, dare I say this is already better than the Ichi the Witch just keeps getting better, but I like this arc so far. Admittedly, had a little bit of an iffy start. The introduction of Higurashi and Boxstar was kind of like, but I think already, mainly because of the sheer concentration and focus of this arc and just the extrapolation on the universe in many ways, I'm liking this arc even more than I like the introduction to the Chrono Weaver arc or the Chronostasis arc. I actually like it a lot. I may already like the arc more as a whole. And that's crazy considering how I really like the Timekeeper arc or the Chronostasis arc. But overall, a W chapter. If you haven't already seen this video, please leave. Don't die too soon. Don't die too soon. In the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that at least one notification so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you can have a preach down below. You support me for as low as $1 a month. Hitting exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions, so the series I have to review, I do reactions of all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, early ad-free access not just all my videos on the main channel, but all my videos on the second channel that got the reaction. Link to the description down below and in the card in the upper right hand corner. On top of that, I do have a link to my Ko-Fi down below. You drop 5 weeks for a short video, 200 beats long video, or any beats at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. And I want to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Red Bull 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, J2MA, Buddha Ura, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Tim Thomas, Kaving, RXN, Dead Meat, Keon Stewart, Edwin Igbinoba, Straw, Antavius Mitchell, Weary Exile, Alex Kenny, Todd, The Practical One, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CAET, Plant Grown, Brandon Payne, Multi-Batman Superman, Zalim, Sleepin' John, MoCD King DKG, Union Eye, Athenzi Shear, Sino King, CCC, Enzo, Kitty Liddy, Axis XC, Praise the Sun, Magic, and Doreen Bonnet, at JDog2656, Sheesh King, AZ Void, Professor Von Tuck III, Nevis97, Black Sage, Sky XT, Felix, The Young Family, Pastel Pandora, John Malcolm, Donovan McIntosh, Black Doctor Strange, Super Flame Zero, and Vlad. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our line art tier patrons, A+A, Kevin Encarnacion, Lucas Stace, Midnight Lord 21, and Shaw. And I'd like to give a thank you to our Ink tier member, Shrimpo the Force Shrimp 06. And I'd like to give a thank you to our digital art tier member, Jay Warrior. And I'd like to give a thank you to our colored art tier patrons, Walking Munoz and Joaquin Munoz.